Hi, and welcome to our English Classroom Study Corner session of today. Today I want you to learn how to write a report. I will tell you why we need to be able to write this type of text, what we will actually need it for in real life and beyond school, and how we can write a report and what language we can use to do so. Furthermore, we will discuss what you guys need to know for your written exams and your tests coming up. So, let's start with why we need to write a good report. The purpose of a report writing is actually to inform the reader about a topic. And you shouldn't give your opinion on the topic, but summarize, portray facts as they are. Even if you give inferences or analyses or charts, you should portray them as if they were like that and just real. So use the data, the charts and the table that are provided. We can actually need that type of writing, the report, for our entire life. So what's the three main purposes of a report? We have formal reports, which may be used to convey information. We have reports to analyze an issue or problem, and we have reports that provide a recommended course of action. So again, what is a report and its purpose? Reports are documents designed to record and convey information to the reader. They are part of any business organization, so you will have to come across them eventually. You need credit reports or even police reports. They serve to document specific information for specific audiences, goals, or functions. Basically, you need to write reports in your future jobs, be it police reports on papers or anything else. And you will have to know how to do so. So, let's get started. For our schoolwork, it is essential to look at one of those example tasks you will come across one of your school years. So, as typical in Austrian exams, you will be given 3 bullet points and a graph or chart to write your report on. It is essential that you actually spend time with the task and read it carefully. If you don't understand the questions and what is asked of you, be sure to look up those words and really know what you're supposed to answer. This is important for your writing. In this task, you would have to look at the graph and take some facts from it. Make sure to get those straight. Don't mix them up. Secondly, you need to summarize the graph. And thirdly, you need to give recommendations. It is smart to go back to our basic structure of all English texts. And remember, all of our English texts can be simply written by using this overall structure. Depending on the text type, you will need to adapt the formality of your language and what you put into these 3 big sections. But other than that, they can always serve as your basic structure. The introduction in a report would be, yes, an overview of what you will include and where your data comes from. You will also just give it that heading. You will say introduction. The body with 1 paragraph for each idea or bullet point is essential for your task achievement. In a report, you can actually name all of your subsections and categories and paragraphs with headings, just like they're given in the bullet points. This makes it easier for you to follow the tasks. So take those bullet points, rearrange them, and make them your headings for your body. What is important as well is that the format of a report should be known. So reports are divided into those sections with headings and subheadings. They can be academic, technical, business-oriented, and in the future they will give your recommendations for specific actions. They are written to present the facts about the situations, about the graphs, and the processes, and you will have to analyze the issue at hand. Last part is the conclusion, as with any English text. So in a report, you give your recommendations and findings. Let's go on and continue with our raised writing strategies, just to make sure you have that structure down perfect. So let's think of our raised strategy when we are writing our text's body. The R stands for rephrasing or restating the question. So basically, you need to rephrase your bullet point. A then stands for answering the question with information from the text, or in this case, from the graph. So answer the question that you've just asked. C stands for citing the sources of your findings. So cite the source, tell the audience, the reader, where you took that information from, in which section of the graph did you just take out that piece of information. You can use this for all of our texts. In a report, you can use those three to answer and cite your bullet points. It would help you to keep the text understandable for any reader. It will help you with your structure in any English text in the future, and we will achieve the same level of English on all of your written assignments. So the last point in your body to use is the E, and the E is basically you need to explain. You need to give the evidence you've looked up in your graphs, and you need to explain further what does that mean for your task, what does that mean for you personally, and what are your recommendations? What will you do about it? So, going back to the more concrete information on the report task we have for the Austrian school system, here is actually a checklist that can come in handy. We have a checklist which includes layout, language, and content. With the layout, you need to take care of the appropriate titles, the headings, whether you have a clear statement of what the report is about. It is divided into paragraphs. It has the introduction, the main part, and the conclusion, just like we've just discussed. You should make a clear statement of your purpose, and it has the subheadings we have also discussed before. The language is factual and formal, it is accurate, very important, it is short and clear. I don't need very complex and complicated language. I don't need German language and 5-line sentences in English. This needs to be clear. You can use short and simple English, but get your point across. Make sure your reader understands what it is you are talking about. So, make sure your text contains enough suitable words, your linking words, take the vocabs from the graphs, and make sure you do not use the passive voice because that just doesn't make sense in a report. Is everything, all the information you have in your content? Did you avoid new information in the end? Please do not bring up new stuff at the very last sentence. Does your conclusion include a summary with the relevant information and your recommendations? In the report, we really need that recommendation. So the information of the diagrams, tables, and everything else you were given is included. Well, that's great. Then you've done everything right, and this is going to be a really, really cool report. Now, let's look at remembering how we are going to write this report, and here are some steps to follow when writing a report. So you need to decide on your terms of reference. You will conduct your research, meaning you look at the graph. You will write an outline or a first draft in an ideal world. You don't have that time in a test. You will analyze the data. You will make sure you know all of your words in the graphs, and you will give a recommendation or your findings and a course of action. Make sure you edit that report, and then you can actually distribute it. So again, our 7 steps for how to write a report is to choose the main objective. Normally this will be given by your teacher and you will have your bullet points in your test. You analyze your audience. Make sure you know who it is you're writing this for. Work on the format. Collect all the data from the graphs. Structure the main report exactly the way we were just discussing. Ensure it is good to read. Ensure I know what you are talking about. And do the editing in the end if you have time during a test. So we've just covered who, what, and how to write a report. So what's left to know? What makes a good report? Here's some language tips in the end. So I've already mentioned, keep your language short and simple. Include your main idea in each sentence with extra information following afterwards. Introduce appropriate linking devices and words. Use everyday English. Use your level of English. Avoid passives. Keep your eye on punctuation and spelling. Remember that reports are meant to be informative. You tell the reader what was done, what was discovered, and what is the consequence, and how this relates to your bullet points. Include only relevant material in your background and decision. No need to come up with anything new. A report is an act of communication between you and your reader. So 5 tips for good reporting. First of all, start with what's important. Make sure you actually know what's important. Use simple language. I can only repeat that over and over again. Do not overcomplicate stuff. So change your language according to the action that actually happens during a report. Describe what is different now to what has happened and where we need to go. Back all of that up with your evidence, cite from your information, from the graphs and data. All of that done, it will be an awesome report. I'm sure of it, and you will manage just fine. So finally, for all of your Austrians here, we need to know how to write a report for our Matura. This is actually one of the text types we will need. So you can check out this table to see what are you being graded on. So it is important for you that the author, the theme, the topic or subject, the date, the earlier discussed paragraphs and headings are in there. That counts for organization and layout of your test. For task achievement, give a subject line in which you refer to the task. Then go in with a short introduction and answer those bullet points. Divide your report with headings and into sections, and in the end you should clearly give your recommendations and findings and do a conclusion. Use formal to neutral English and try not to abbreviate. Stay simple and precise to make sure your ideas come across. You can find this table of information for all of your text sorts online. So, I hope there aren't any questions left and I've answered them as much as I possibly can. If you do have questions, please be free to write an email or chat me on in our Teams account. We will have a chance to practice all of that in class next time we will see each other. So as usually, thank you very much for paying attention. This was another Study Corner presentation by Magister Heidrun Draxler. And I will see you soon.